Do you think it's possible for someone to have a realization or experience a non-duality state without having a Kundalini experience, or it's?
Yeah, I do, and that's kind of what a lot of the Buddhist practices are built on: the idea that the energy's irrelevant, just go into this pure consciousness. But what I've noticed, what I've really learned, when I began my research, I began it looking into what Kundalini was and talking to yogis and going to India and the whole thing, trying to really get the classical perspective. And in India, Kundalini is the model for awakening. It's the methodology that they evolved. And so you get the impression, if you're in that model, that everybody has to start there. But it's not true. And I didn't really see that clearly until I started sitting with Adyashanti. And Adya has these wonderful large retreats with hundreds of people. But back in the day when I first started sitting with him, they were small, maybe 45 people. And I saw people have direct awakenings to truth, have a tremendous shift of realization. But invariably afterwards, their energy will start to move. Because eventually, if you're going to embody what you're not going to be just in a kind of a distracted, out of your body state. You're going to actually embody and live from whatever it is you've experienced as the deepest truth of your life. You have to let your body energy reorganize itself in such a way that you can find this deep inner peace. And the reason we don't have this peace, which is our natural state, is we have all these conditioned patterns that we've absorbed in our energy field over the years. So at some level, we have to release those. And so for some people, it's a very gentle process. It's not very dramatic. And for others, it hits them like a Mack truck, you know. It's like all of a sudden, wham. They were in this great, peaceful, open presence, and then when they were meditating, and they realized they got a glimpse, and then a few weeks later or a few days later, they feel like they wake up in the middle of the night as if they're electrified, and they don't know why if they're in a system that doesn't recognize Kundalini. It's very traumatic for people who are told that it's a mistake, or perhaps they're mentally ill, or it shouldn't be happening, because it does happen. But very often it's not in the paradigm of the teacher, and it's kind of they're given some other model of discounting it, and it didn't happen to them very much or at all, or they are not at that stage of awakening. So it's challenging for people. I hear from people all over the world who have been alone in this process, even though they were in a spiritual community.